I was able to star in Les Mis, but I wasn't able to go to the bar with everybody after because I wasn't 21, you know. So I just remembered my first impressions of professional theater was being left out. Trips to the bar. Oh no, I don't mean there was many other wonderful impressions. That would be one of the more social impressions, but it's hard to even answer the question next to the person I most admire. And the model really for what I want to be and what I believe in. But so I can only say I agree with Donna that research is something that can liberate your imagination and can liberate your spirit. And unlike what Anthony was saying, how he felt guided so often by his great directors, especially maybe even some of his most famous performances, my first performance ever was in Les Mis. Just use it as an example. I was the first replacement of Cosette, and I had no rehearsal with the directors, but I was being thrown into this world, and my first instinct, I actually was 18, and I was a freshman in college. I dropped out of college to play the part, and I just started reading Victor Hugo. I read the whole book, and I read the whole book. I had to get on stage in 10 days, but I didn't know much about Victor Hugo's world. I didn't know much about the various revolutions and the French Revolution. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't even know what I was talking about. I was going, at the end of the day, you're another day older. Cosette has to play, you know, in the ensemble while she's a child, and then the 18 or 25-year-old actress is supposed to come out. After the 9-year-old is done, I've already played all the different aspects of you know, social history in France. I played a prostitute, I played a beggar, all these things, you know, and then you come out as Cosette. But I didn't know anything, never mind about kissing, but I was a prostitute, you know, on stage, all those actors and so on. But I would then go home and read Victor Hugo more and more and learn a lot about what Fantine was going through and about women and selling their bodies and about the pressures of being so poor and all the class system and things like that. So I would, you know, as the show was running, I was reading Victor Hugo. It was like a race to get to understand the play I was even in. So I've always felt a little bit like research could save you, because if you don't always get the information, it's out there. The next Broadway musical I did was Anna Karenina, which I went on to read. I played Anna Karenina in all the workshops leading up to the production, and I wasn't even 21 yet. Anna Karenina is famously a middle-aged lady, and so on. And they actually got to Broadway on my wacky intellectual performances in workshops. And then when they went to Broadway, I played the ingenue character, and I understudied Anna. Luckily, I never went on, because the audience would have been so confused. 20-year-old girls jumping in front of the train, you know, no future in sight.
Spoiler alert.
No one reads books anymore, Anthony. It doesn't matter.
So I love all the research, and you know, My Fair Lady became very interesting to me, and I'll just do one more piece on the value of research. When I was playing Eliza Doolittle, I had, in that case, one of the great directors who recently passed away, Howard Davis from England, one of the people who created the National Theatre in England. And he came to New York to do a very strong and a feminist version of My Fair Lady. And as it came to Broadway 1 year on tour, a lot of the feminist elements, if not all of them, were cut, because they felt people weren't ready to see Eliza Doolittle in a liberated light. So I was delighted to see the current revival succeeding on those grounds. But we, X amount of years ago, I mean, I'm not hiding the numbers on purpose, in the 90s, we were trying to do something very radical, and I could tell you about that another time. But one of the really great things about studying sort of social histories, if you even look at someone like a Flower Girl, and you're studying a character, I was 22 when I played Eliza Doolittle, and if you're studying what Flower Girls were, they were publicly saying, by having baskets in their hands, by having aprons and wearing skirts and selling flowers, they were saying publicly on the street, I am not a prostitute. It was a code. It was a code for a choice. I'm going to be a salesgirl, and I'm going to sell these flowers. And it was understood, and you were not to approach them that way at all. And so when Eliza Doolittle says what she says all the time, I'm a good girl, I am. You know, she's always saying to Higgins, well, I'm a good girl, I am. She's not saying it to be cute or like, I'm a good girl, I am, and all this. The way many actresses may play it if they don't really know how important She had made a choice to be a flower girl, to be a good girl. So she felt really threatened when he would say, it doesn't mean she can't be funny and sparky, but she's actually defending her sexual honor when she says something like that. So there's things like that. You know, a director may not say it, you don't always know these type of things. So it helps you create the character, you know. That's my point, creating a character, I guess. Anyway, that's it. The only thing I would add to all the amazing, and these are the greatest actors on my right, and the only thing I would add is that I think sometimes we can get a lot of our character ideas from the way the other characters on stage treat us.
Yeah.
The things they say to us. When we can do all this preparation and all that, but there's nothing like when you look at, like if I were to, oh my God, one day play with you, the amount of information I would get from your eyes about who I am.
Also